Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, how election officials are ensuring voter security.
Plus, the latest from the campaign trail, how presidential candidates are making final appeals to voters.
And
no, I'm definitely more anxious during election time.
How voters combat anxiety ahead of casting their ballot. First at 5 starts now.
First at 5, from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications. You're watching WUFT News.
It's election day and all eyes are on the 2024 presidential race. This is First at 5. I'm Juan Chaoui.
And I'm Roches. Thanks for joining us. In just under 2 hours, polls will close across most of the state. Nearly 8.3 million ballots have already been cast by mail and in early voting. On the ballot, the presidential election, a U.S. Senate seat, congressional and legislative seats, and a wide variety of local offices. Voters will also decide the fate of 6 proposed amendments to the Florida Constitution. Election officials say despite minor glitches in technology as the polls opened, Floridians should feel confident in the integrity of the election.
Florida is the gold standard for elections administration. When voters go to the polls in Florida, they know that their vote's going to be counted, it's going to be counted accurately, and it's going to be counted timely, and they can trust in the results. And I think you're going to see it, before you go to bed tonight, the results in Florida.
If you haven't voted, you still have a chance. Polls are open until 7 p.m. tonight.
We have team coverage spread across Gainesville with the latest on today's election and what you can expect with the polls closing in the coming hours.
Republican candidate, former President Donald Trump is in Florida today after a final day of barnstorming battleground states Monday. Trump held his last campaign rally in the early morning hours on Election Day in Michigan, the same place he finished the 2016 and 2020 campaigns. The former president voted in Florida and plans to join supporters at an election party tonight. A closing act of 9 years of near constant campaigning, capped by a final rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan last night.
My last rally, can you believe it? The rallies, these big, beautiful rallies. We want the answer tomorrow, tonight.
Former President Trump is adamant on getting results as soon as possible.
Taking a look at the other side, Democratic candidate Vice President Kamala Harris returned to Washington after her last campaign rally in Pennsylvania late last night. She plans to celebrate with the supporters on the campus of the school where she got her undergrad degree, Howard University. Standing in front of the Rocky Steps in Philadelphia, Harris, who has said she's the underdog in this race, reminds voters what's at stake in this election. One of Harris's main points, this could be a new era in American politics.
We have an opportunity in this election to finally turn the page on a decade of politics that has been driven by fear and division. We are done with that. We're done.
If elected, Harris would start a new chapter in American history as the first woman president.
Taking a live look outside over our DOT cams, it's another cloudy day in north central Florida. Polls close in just under 2 hours. UF forecaster Matthew Clark is tracking if you'll see any showers on your way to cast your ballot.
Yeah, this morning it was much nicer out with crystal clear blue skies, but as you can see, it is overcast right now overlooking our campus cam. Temperature 79 degrees. We have not seen rain yet. We could possibly see a passing shower as we head into tonight, but those chances are very slim, around 10%. Hour by hour, those temperatures are going to remain pretty constant in the 70s. Around 4 a.m., though, that's when the rain chances are going to start to ramp up. But for tonight, those chances are going to remain pretty low. A couple passing showers just to the west of 75 heading towards Mayo. Those are those just quick little showers that you could possibly see if you're going out to vote. But here in Gainesville, all is clear. It's just overcast. We do have a tropical storm, Raphael, down in the Western Caribbean. 70-mile-per-hour sustained winds right now, which is just 4 miles per hour shy. The good news is it's looking like it's going to go to the northwest around Louisiana. I'll have that track and more coming up the next couple of minutes.
In Alachua County, some voters say they have been anxiously anticipating Election Day. WUFT's Tanya Fedak joins us live from the Mill Hopper Branch Library voting location to give us Election Day voter reactions.
I visited some other polling locations today, and I noticed one general trend. Voters are eager to know the final results of this historic election, both on a local and national level. Horns honking, music playing, people shouting. These are just a few of the sounds you can hear at Mill Hopper Branch Library. After months of campaigning and preparation, Election Day is finally here. Amy Taylor came out to cast her vote and share a message.
I don't care which way you're voting, you need to vote.
Even though she's out protesting for what she believes, she says election season can be scary.
I'm definitely more anxious during election times. This is the first time I felt strongly enough to actually protest, but otherwise my anxiety is extremely high.
Voter Milagros Ruiz agrees the election can be a stressful time. She has her own coping mechanism.
Well, it'll keep us drinking a lot of coffee and a little bit of anxious.
Dr. Nicole Tarui with El Camino Health says to combat the anxiety, you should look for warning signs you may be getting overwhelmed. If you are, she says to practice self-care. And regardless of the outcome of the election, focus on the things you can control.
It's a lot easier said than done, but I think that when we can really hone in our energy on the things that we do control and let go of the things we don't, it can help us move forward even in the event we're faced with an outcome we don't like.
There is still time left to vote. As you can see behind me, there are still cars pulling in. Polls close at 7 p.m., but if you are in line before then, you are still able to cast your ballot. Double check you have proper identification to avoid any issues. Live from Millhopper Branch Library, Tanya Fedak, WUFT News.
Thank you, Tanya. Rideshare companies are removing barriers for those who need transportation to the polls today. Lyft and Uber are providing massive discounts for voters heading to polling locations. For Lyft riders, use the code VOTE24 to get 50% off your ride. This code is valid from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. local time. Uber also is offering a 50% discount available all day when users select the Go Vote tile in the Uber app. Both discounts cover up to $10 off of your rides. Lyft cites studies showing that people without cars are far less likely to vote.
Students at the University of Florida are gathering for an election watch party on campus. WUFT's Bianca Smith is live at Pugh Hall. Bianca, this sounds like a great opportunity for political talk.
In less than 30 minutes, doors are going to open for the election night watch party. If you take a look right over there, that's the panel where experts are going to be breaking down the trends. They're going to be giving their predictions based on historical evidence. They're also going to be going over the polls and having a Q&A. An event like this is great for people who want to have those political discussions. They're going to be going over the races all the way from here, local races, to the big presidential showdown. Now, if you want to come to this event, it's from 6 to 8:30. But even after the panel's done, people are welcome to stay to watch the elections, have a little snack, and chat politics. Reporting live at Pugh Hall, I'm Bianca Smith, WUFT News.
Let's take a look at how Floridians have voted during the last two presidential elections. Florida has consistently had a close turnout from Democratic and Republican voters. In 2020, of all casted ballots, 47.9% were Democratic and 51.2% were Republican. And in 2016, 47.8% were Democratic and 49% were Republican.
In a recent statement from the FBI, they ensured the integrity of the 2024 elections and are operating a 24/7 national election command post located at FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. FBI Jacksonville has established a local election post to coordinate with local and state partners across North Florida. The purpose of the command post is to ensure FBI Jacksonville is well positioned to respond to any election security issues that may arise. These include federal election crimes, threats to election workers, cyber threats, and acts of domestic terrorism. If you think an election crime is occurring, you should call 1-800-255-5324.
Coming up on First at 5, when you can expect election results tonight and potentially in the coming days. Plus, what some restaurants and businesses are offering to voters. All that and more after the break.
Here's a live look at the White House, where the country will soon learn who will be the 47th president of the United States. For a majority of voters today, they're hoping that whoever ends up in the Oval Office will address the key issues important to them. As CNN's Laura Aguirre reports, vote counts could last into Wednesday.
Women's reproductive rights. The economy, more than anything.
Border's huge for me.
I want our country to heal. I want to move past this.
cornerstone issues driving massive voter turnout in several states today. In battleground Pennsylvania, Philly's district attorney says he's seeing more aggressive behavior than in the past, with his office investigating about a dozen calls from polling places. He's got a message for troublemakers.
We do have the cuffs. We do have the jail cells. We're not playing. F around and find out.
A couple Pennsylvania counties reported minor technical malfunctions with some voting machines, but voters could still cast their ballots. A judge granted one county, Cambria, extended hours to accommodate.
I am completely confident in our ability to run the elections fairly, and all of our voters' ballots are going to be counted.
Georgia had its share of phoned-in threats today. In one case, voting was briefly disrupted at 2 locations, bomb threats that were found to be non-credible.
We identified the source, and it was from Russia. They're up to no mischief, it seems, and they don't want us to have a smooth, fair, and accurate election.
An election that may take a while to tally. Election organizers urge patience.
It's hard to predict when people will be able to wake up and know the result out of Pennsylvania.
I just want to assure the American public that it will happen, but it will be sometime after midnight.
The nation's last polls don't close until 1 a.m. Eastern Time Wednesday morning in Alaska. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Casting your vote on Election Day just got a little bit sweeter. Several restaurants and companies are giving freebies or discounts to voters. If you're looking for a way to the polls, rideshare companies are offering discounted rides for voters. While you're out, stop by Krispy Kreme and snag a free classic glazed donut. In addition to a sweet treat, Grubhub has delivery discounts for Starbucks, Wendy's, and more. Many voters are enjoying these perks as a thank you for casting their ballots. WUFT and WRUF have you covered on election night. Tune into Cox Channels 3 and 6 for live team coverage of local city and county races, state amendments, and the race for the White House. Our coverage begins when the polls close at 7 p.m. And if you can't get to a TV, you can listen in at FM 89.1 and 90.1 in addition to WUFT.org.
Tropical storm Rafael is in the Caribbean. However, it does look like it's going to be going to the northwest. I'll have the track and more coming up after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
It's still hurricane season until November 30th, and the tropics are still active. We have Tropical Storm Rafael in the Caribbean right now with winds up to 70 miles per hour, which is just 4 miles per hour shy of a Category 1 hurricane. However, we do got some good news. It is going to strengthen into a Category 1 by Thursday morning. However, Helene made a northeast turn. It's looking like Rafael is going to be going northwest, eventually going to the north, looking like Louisiana, but it does start to weaken around Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon into a tropical storm before it eventually makes landfall to the west of us. We could still see some impacts here. Storm is right here, pretty much centers here. A couple feet of rain bands off to the east. Do have a model here showing you where most of the rain is going to start to head up. It heads through Cuba into the Gulf of Mexico, just off the coast of South Florida, but then you can see it start to move out to the west, getting away from us. Great news there before eventually starting to weaken before it makes its way up towards Louisiana and then off into the northeast U.S. We are going to start to see some rain here from this storm as we head into tomorrow. These rainfall totals are going to start to tick up as we head into Wednesday and into Thursday. We could see upwards of an inch of rain, up to an inch and a half as we head into Thursday morning and into Thursday afternoon and into Friday. See 2.5 inches pretty much in Cedar Key. The further west you go, the more rain that they could see. We do need some rain. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen sustained rain, so this is good news for us in terms of rain. Overcast skies right now overlooking our campus cam, 79 degrees, feeling a little bit warmer though. East winds around 13 miles per hour, so it is a little bit windy out there looking out on the west campus cam. A little cloudy as well. Temperatures for the rest of our area though are in the low 80s, 81 over in Ocala, 79 in Palatka, and 79 up in Stark. And it is election day, so if you're going out to vote, still have a little under 2 hours. Some overcast skies are going to be possible. Mainly cloudy skies are going to start to overtake the skies as we head into tonight. And then tomorrow, those rain chances are going to be pretty seismic around the afternoon. Could see some thunderstorms from Rafael, even though it's going to stay off the coast. Futurecast shows us Wednesday morning. It's going to be pretty clear as we head into Wednesday afternoon. A lot of storms to the east of 75, and as we head into Wednesday evening and into Wednesday night, a lot of those storms to the west of 75. So it's not going to be necessarily the prettiest Wednesday out there. These rain chances are going to stay pretty high as we head into Thursday. But this weekend, the weekend's going to be great. This could be you and a friend out in the grass, just like these dogs. Temperature is going to be in the 80s. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, so we can start looking forward to the weekend. Next Monday is also Veterans Day. Temperature is going to be in the 80s, so we don't have a lot of cold weather coming through. However, this weekend we can look forward to.
Coming up in sports, we'll get our first look at the college football postseason tonight. Plus, the road to March Madness began last night as both Gator basketball teams started their seasons. We'll have that and more after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Scarlett Cooney. Last night was the moment Gator fans have been waiting for 8 months. That's right, Florida basketball has finally returned. WUFT's Ben McLeish has more on the somber circumstances surrounding the men's team season opener.
Season with a bang, taking down USF 98-83. But Monday's matchup served as a reminder that some things are just bigger than basketball.
A new college basketball season always comes with excitement. Arenas around the country buzzing in anticipation. But just minutes before the season tip-off at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, you could hear a pin drop in the arena. A moment of silence for a father, a coach, a mentor. USF head coach Amir Abdur-Rahim died less than 2 weeks ago. The team was devastated, but interim head coach Ben Fletcher said the players decided the best way to honor their coach was to get back on the court.
After getting the news, the first day we stepped foot on the floor, man, they were awesome.
USF played with evident passion as they jumped out to a 13-point lead over the heavily favored Gators in the first half. Florida head coach Todd Golden commended the Bulls for their impressive performance.
I thought Coach Fletcher and their staff did an incredible job preparing them for tonight.
USF didn't begin their season with a win, but their late head coach would be proud of their resilience on and off the court. For the rest of the season, they will honor Abdur-Rahim with a patch placed right over their hearts, a constant reminder of the love he brought to not just his team, but the entire USF community. Ben McLeish, WUFT Sports.
It wasn't quite the hot start Gator fans were expecting, with number 21 Florida trailing 40-39 at the half. But not to worry, Walter Clayton Jr. and Will Richard led the Gators to a second half comeback. Clayton's 29 points and Richard's 25 marks the first time Florida has had two players with 25-plus points since 2019. The Gators will host Jacksonville for their home opener on Thursday. Back in Gainesville, Gator women's basketball also had an in-state matchup last night, steamrolling Florida Atlantic 82-54. Unlike the men's team, Florida women's basketball started hot, dropping 26 points in the first quarter. Senior Jariah Warren posted a career-high 21 on the night to secure the season-opening win for the Gators. Freshman Liv McGill also made her mark. Her 14 points made her the first Florida freshman to open a season with double-digit points in 5 years. Safe to say the future looks bright for Florida basketball. Switching to the turf, the first college football playoff rankings will be released tonight at 7. The selection process will look the same, but the big difference, these rankings will apply to the inaugural 12-team playoff. With the new format, the 5 highest-ranked conference champions will all automatically qualify. The next 7 highest-ranked teams will make up the remaining spots. The expansion gives playoff hope to teams like Alabama, Tennessee, and Penn State with 1 or 2 losses. The rankings will be released every Tuesday until December 3rd. Finally, a trio of Gator volleyball players have earned SEC Weekly honors: Kennedy Martin, Taylor Parks, and Ellie McKissick. This comes as the team climbed 2 spots to number 22 in the latest coaches poll.
Speaking of polls, tonight is election night, and we do have plenty of coverage here on WUFT. I myself will be on the desk, and I believe, Mara, you're going to be live out in the field.
Yes, I will be at the Alachua County Supervisor of Elections office, and I will be covering voter turnout here in Alachua County. But before we go, one last check on the weather, Matthew.
Yeah, the weather tonight is shaping up to be decent. It's a little overcast outside right now, but as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, you see those rain chances are elevated. Raphael is going to be off the west coast of Florida. Well, off the west coast, I will say, but we are going to get some thunderstorms and showers from Raphael. Temperatures, we don't see cold temperatures anywhere near. We see those 80s, not the greatest temperature. Low temps are going to be in the upper 60s and lower 70s. However, next Monday is Veterans Day, looking to be a nice Veterans Day with a 20% chance of rain.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and on all of our social media platforms. Have a good night.